Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the CVR World Cup Race Zone E for the men and the women. We're out on the Greater London course today for 2 laps, 42 kilometers, it looks like, total that we're going after today. Going to be a solid race. It looked like we have a ton of racers signed up today as well. About 250 I saw up front in the men's, and I'm seeing, I believe there were at least 30 or so within the women's races today. Now we do have a guest out here today, the usual with Mr. Quentin LaFay, as we are lined up here with the women, but we also have, hey, thanks. Hey, Quentin, how's it going here? Say hi, everybody. We are live over at Twitch, Facebook, as well as YouTube right now. But we also have along with us Mr. Frank Garcia, the CEO from Cyclogent, and we want to welcome him to the program to chat about all things CVR World Cup today. Frank, how's it going? Good to have you here.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. It's going well. Of course. You caught me in the middle of an office move, but other than that, minor details.
Right on, right on. That's always busy times moving. I can understand that completely. So wanted to have you on because just some people may be unfamiliar with what CVR is. There's a ton of new people influxing into the program of Zwift right now with winter time being here. This is our Zwift season. So first of all, what is CVR? You know, CVR World Cup, it seems to have a lot of different races this past year that were live events, and it seems to have had this rebirth almost a little bit. And so what's new? What was the motivation for it up front too?
We started thinking about CVR, which was Cyclogent Virtual Racing, sort of started as Cyclogent Virtual Rankings. We started to think about that a little bit over a year ago. So not this past Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before that, we started doing some work on rankings. So we looked at the categorization system for racing, and we wanted to look at something that was performance-based versus watts per kilogram based. We thought that there's a lot of different aspects to racing. And so we looked to create a ranking system for that. We did that. And then we looked at hosting some events where we would select people from rankings as well as people at large. And we did some live events. First one was in Roanoke, which wasn't really truly a CVR event. It was a XRS event. And then we moved to Las Vegas. Los Angeles is this year.
Los Angeles is coming. Of course, that's on your mind.
Yeah, exactly. So we held our World Cup kickoff. So last March in Vegas, or I think it was April, beginning of April actually. But and that was Quentin was there, so he would know. And we brought people in from all over the world. Quentin represented France, but 10 different people from on the male side as well as the female side, 10 different countries, and we raced. I had a great race, and that was, lots of fun. And that started us doing World Cup events all of the time. So we did London and Paris as well. Following that, obviously, Los Angeles is coming up. Every March now, sort of that March, end of March, early April timeframe, you'll have what we kind of call the main event. So you'll have big prize purses. This year we'll have over $100,000 in cash and prizes. And so that was sort of the genesis of CVR World Cup. Awesome. Once we started doing that, go ahead.
Oh yeah, really, really great. Great explanation. A couple of questions I think that do come up throughout the broadcast sometimes is, there's a lot of different zones. So that between, there's zones and then there's categories, which are two different things. And during the broadcast, even I'm kind of like, all right, I'm in, because I'm just used to talking about categories a certain way and zones a certain way. And so what are the zones for? specifically? Like, why were those designed in the CVR World Cup? Because we're covering the E zone because that's the most popular time to essentially be racing or riding out on Zwift, and so we cover the bigger events. And so what are the zones for specifically?
So when we set up a league, we wanted it to be a global league, global in nature. And we also got a lot of feedback, in particular from women, that timing was difficult. If you only had, one or two races in a day for a league, it makes scoring easy, that sort of thing. But in order to have a truly global league, include, Australia, Asia, Central Russia, Middle East, Western Europe and Eastern Europe, and then off into North America, South America. You sort of need to split those time zones. So we set up 8 zones by time. So every 3 hours there's a race on Tuesday, and that's where the zone concept comes from. And we expect that to grow. There's an influx of riders into Zwift, obviously, this winter. We expect Zwift to keep growing. And while it's a little bit challenging if you're out in New Zealand or if you're in the Pacific Islands in terms of numbers, we expect that to grow substantially over time and to have a truly global league. So that's the purpose of zones.
Gotcha. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I'm finding that the zones have all different participants from very different times. At least, I mean, for myself, I would jump into a race maybe in the later zone because I tend to be a night owl and I do my riding later in the day. And I was finding a lot of people that maybe this zone was set up for, in theory, somebody at a certain part of the world, but really it's just really making it accessible for everybody whenever it is convenient for them in their life to fit their cycling in. It's exactly how Zwift is kind of been marketed even too. Is like, hey, you can ride from your living room whenever you need to, rather than trying to fit your life around the racing specifically. It's more malleable to modern lifestyles.
Exactly. And I think we tend to think of it in terms of geography because we say, global and, it's every 3 hours across the globe. But what we tell everybody is it's not really about geography at all. It's about what's convenient for you. So you might want to race at, in the morning, or you might want to race at lunch, or you might want to race in the evening, or Nathan, I'm a little bit like you. I tend to I tend to ride at night a lot because I'm busy during the day and it's hard for me to get on. It's all about convenience, and that's part of the driver as well. But you also get the global nature. So it also becomes convenient for people in Asia, whether it's a morning Asia or an evening Asia. A lot of people tend to race in the evening, but Asia can come in, Australia can come in. Now, some people would like us, I think, to have a race every hour. That would be a little bit difficult and spread some people out. But we also get that as well. Like, geez, if it was just an hour earlier, it would be perfect for my schedule. So we can't be perfect for everybody, but I think we're highly flexible and meeting the needs of most people.
Great. So the zones, that's what the zones are all about. 8 zones across the day. So the other thing is categories. Now I'm a little confused now, and help me with categories, help everybody else about categories. How does it work to qualify for the final? And then also, because it seems that there's multiple category tiers. Can you just give us a quick layout about that? Now we have about 3 minutes to start the race. I don't know if you even have time. If you want to stick around, come back into the call after, you totally can. Otherwise, if you can quickly throw it at us, here's what categories are all about. Here's who can qualify, who can't. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so let me try and throw that out quickly, and I'm happy to stick around and explain it because this is a concept that some people struggle with, and I think partly that's because you have to think about it a little bit, and partly because of the historical nature of the culture that we've built up around racing. So we don't actually call them categories, first of all, to try and cut down on the confusion. We call them brackets, but basically the same thing. What we tend to do in terms of brackets or categories, if you prefer, is to base them on performance. So instead of saying, go do an FTP test, maybe I don't like to take FTP tests myself, but rather than go out and take an FTP test and see, what your watts per kilogram are and where you fit that in, and then race based on that, we're saying race, and then we'll see how you do. And based on how you do, we'll put you in the appropriate bracket or category. I'm a classic example. I've been a sprinter all my life. I raced in real life, as people say, although I think that's bad terminology now. I think this is just a new cycling discipline, and it just happens to occur over the internet, but it seems real to me at this point. But I've always been a sprinter. I've always had a hard time maintaining a 20-minute effort going over a climb or that sort of thing. But I can really excel at sprinting, and maybe it's different muscle fibers, or I won't get into all the gory details. But my FTP, I'm basically a B rider, especially now after I went to the holidays and I ate too much. I'm certainly under 4 watts per kilogram, but I can still compete on a flat course, which eCrit is one of the reasons I do eCrit. It's well suited for me. But that's sort of the difference. Is we say we're going to look at performance, and I think the hard part of that is one of the things we had a tremendous response for the league, a lot of registrations, and a lot of people who didn't have data for. So a lot of the new people signed up. So whereas we could look at history for a large segment of the population and rank them and bracket them appropriately, which we did. There was another segment that raced the preseason, and we could bracket them. And then there was a whole bunch of people who were new to racing, and we at first thought we would place them in D, and we actually did for the first race. That turns out to not be a great idea because there's a lot of strong people who are new. So we put new people in B to start now, and then we'll filter those out through the first season. And then there's promotions and relegations at the end of the season so that you get into the correct brackets, and that will become better and better over time. Part of the difficulty with setting brackets initially is a lot of the racing historically has been done on watts per kilogram. So you still have a sort of little watts per kilogram flare in the first season, but that'll diminish with the second season.
Gotcha. So the brackets are all about performance-based. It's all about making sure that the results are based on what people actually have, or the categorization or brackets where people are racing is based on what they've actually performed at in the past.
That's correct. And it solves some issues. For instance, sandbagging is sort of an issue that people talk about with watts per kilogram. So if you're me and you wanted to race Bs, you'd put on 3 or 4 pounds and you'd be able to race in Bs. That would be one way to do it. Another way to do it would be not to make a huge 20-minute effort in a lot of your races. And then you could sort of stay in the B category, but you could sort of always be winning, right? You could always make the big effort at the end. You see that. And we try and police that as organizers and push people up, but people sort of actively try and make that not happen. In a performance-based system, that just goes away. If you want to sandbag, go ahead, but then you don't finish well, right? And that's the only way to prevent yourself from moving up. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you're, so that changes the dynamics of things substantially in terms of how people move around. So that's what we're after in that regard. So
the race is getting going here. I'm actually looking at Kim Little's avatar right now in that yellow kit, actually, with Team Experimental. Looks like you guys got some racers out there today. But one last thing. So who can go to the final then? There was some confusion in the broadcast. So just wanted to make sure, like, is it only the top tier bracket that can make it into the final, or how does that work?
That's probably a little bit of an explanation, Nathan. So,
okay.
And I tend to talk too much anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
So if you want to come back to me, I can explain that, because I think that's really, there's a number of different ways to get in. There's a number of different initiatives that we're doing from CVR World Cup. We've got how to get into the performance bracket, how to get to a camp, how to get to the World Cup, elite bracket, how to get, then there's invites on both of those sides. So there's a number of different ways to get to that.
Yeah, let's watch a race, and then if you want to come back in, you can as soon as the sprint's over, we'll throw you back in here. Don't feel like you got to sit there and watch the broadcast from there the whole time. I'll message you on Facebook, Frank.
Yeah, I'll watch the broadcast anyway, but also let Kim know that he's got a fine coming for being, out of team kit. I'm just saying.
He's gonna have a lot of them. So he really likes that kit.
Yeah, he's really racking up the fines because he seems to like that yellow jersey. I'm not quite sure why people like that wearing that yellow jersey.
Yeah, he's ugly, right?
He's in chat saying "oops" right now. Oh man, I love it. All right, Frank. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Thanks for your time, and we're off to the races. We'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, that's Frank Garcia, Cyclogent CEO, coming at us with information on the CVR World Cup League. It's been great to have him and have some questions. If you do have any questions for Frank, you can actually bring them to us during the broadcast here. We'll have them saved if you tweet them at us at Z Community Live, or if you go ahead and comment on the Facebook post, I will also save them over there as well. So we've got 2 laps today of Greater London, Quentin. Going to be interesting race. This isn't a fairly difficult course. I mean, 42 kilometers. What are you expecting here from the racers? When are things going to heat up?
Yeah, it's a course we don't usually see on races. Actually, it's a fairly new course since the flat expansion of London was kind of recent, actually. And yeah, I mean, there's still that massive Box Hill that nobody likes, but everyone keeps racing it. And I mean, that's where it's going to happen, and that's where it happened in the previous 4 races. And I mean, in Europe, it's going to be no different. People are going to watch each other for all the flat parts, maybe push a little bit in the climbs, like the one we see right now. But the main separation is going to happen in Box Hill, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like sub 6 times in the Europe zone. We've got some pretty fast guys, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I was looking at the list, and there's some crazy fast guys. I didn't see Cartwright, who won the Ecrit. Maybe is kind of saving his legs for the Ecrit, actually. So
he's currently leading the Ecrit, but last week he went early. He went early.
Yeah,
he didn't win, but he's leading. But currently within these races, who was the winner last week in the CVR? I'm going to double check our results quickly and make sure we got it right.
Yeah, from what I can see right now, I have to recall right, but I think it was. I have no idea who it was.
For some reason, I have V-Mail on the mind, but I think that's just because the mailman, we're going to call him the mailman from now on, delivered for the KISS Racing team last week on Thursday. So we'll be watching out, though. I think it was Team Poland, though, for some reason, keeps coming to mind here. But we do have an attack here off the front now, very early, actually, from the KISS Racing team. It is actually Vane from KRT here, the other mountain biker out of Norway, 4.2 watts per kilogram. Serbu here from BRT, MD from BRT as well. We're seeing Bringdahl from the Vikings team up toward the front. Now, early attack here. I'm not sure it's going to be going much of anywhere, though, Quentin, as the riders take off for this first section out on course. It's going to be, I would think, fairly calmed down most of the time.
Yeah, it's going to be calm, and I'm looking at the results of last week, and it was actually Vidar Mail from KRT who won the race.
I was right. The mailman delivered.
The mailman delivered last week. I hope for his sake that this nickname won't stick too long. But no, I mean, second and third were Potzeline and Kim Little. So I mean, we had a kind of a big sprint last week with more than 15 riders in, and I'm not sure we're going to see that this week because, well, Box Hill is kind of the big revealer in terms of power, and I don't think we're going to see that many riders hang on to the front group, and there's going to be a lot of separations today.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so as they do head over the top of that climb. A 6-minute climb tends to break things apart. The watts per kilogram is what it's going to be all about at that point. Watts per kilogram is king on the climb still, people. All right, settle down. So looking through here also in the
already
women's
throwing
race,
shades. Okay,
already,
it's just been 2 kilometers, but
shots are fired.
You can throw down the shades right now. The riders are going to throw down a little bit later. I mean, they are going to wait for the foot of the climb, but they are definitely going to throw down harder than you do.
Yeah, for sure. And looking off the back here, Quentin, there's actually a rider trying to catch back up and out of the saddle. Pink and blue kid, actually, who is off the back here. Looking through, it's a huge effort, it looks like, here to try and get back on terms. Pinto is here. We're seeing Vanderbent there as well. Webb from One Love, and it's Mestre here coming out of Portugal, doing everything it can. 5.4 watts per kilogram, finds himself out the back. 4 seconds is the difference. 31 miles per hour. Per here from One Love also at 31 miles per hour. He is just having to ruin himself to try and get back. 4 seconds, not close down. This is the worst situation because you have to burn such a match just to get back to the pack here, Quentin. I mean, I'm not sure this is even going to happen.
Yeah, it's the worst situation to be here, and it's very frustrating because, well, seeing the power he's putting on right now, he must have been like trapped or surprised or something like that, and it's just seeing these people putting like two watts per kilogram less than he does, and just going away with second after second, and that must be infuriating. And I mean, it's going to come at the bottom of Box Hill, and it's just going to be hammered when the others are still fresh, and that's basically going to be it for him. I mean, people are going to point me with their fingers if he does bring it back and start going up. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I mean,
3 seconds.
It's too bad when you get
6 watts per
surprised.
kilogram. Man, it's right there. There's a little bit of an incline he did use to almost get back. It's back to 0% gradient. So 29 miles per hour, 29 miles. I mean, putting out 6 watts per kilogram and matching the group is a very frustrating situation, but I've been there both in real life and also in Zwift. Up and out of saddle again, 186 beats per minute. His heart rate has gone up from 175, 176, now to 186. This man is doing everything he can just to get back to this pack for 53rd place right now, man. Can he do it? And everybody's cheering on Mestre here, I think, saying go, go, go. If anybody attacks, though, at the front end of this group, it's going to be curtains, I think, for him. But I think the pack has slowed down a little bit. It's calmed down. They're waiting for that box hill. And I think that that's actually going to benefit him because I think he is going to just, I mean, with only 1 second, he would have to be in full on, like, nuclear in the legs mode to not get back at this point. But he might be. 186 is a high heart rate. And there it is. 188. Still 2 seconds. The pack is right there. This is like the story of a lifetime here. Oh my gosh. Get back to the pack, Mestre. Let's give him a ride on. I want to see ride-ons reign over this man's head right now, everybody, because he is doing everything he can. 1 second. He's going to do it, and they're going to take the right-hand turn.
Come back.
Right-hand turn to Box Hill. 191. And Quentin, have you been in this situation before?
I'm afraid so, yes. And well, he's not going to like what's coming. I mean, nobody would like what's coming. And I mean, everyone's going to be in a world of pain. So I guess it's going to be no different for him, except he has already, well, it loosened up the legs a little bit. I mean, already.
Yeah, loosen up the legs. That's what we'll call it. Hopefully he can get that heart rate back down. 4.0 watts per kilogram, 183 beats per minute, beating like a butterfly here. We're gonna get back in with some of the women's racing as well, though. Here we do have 3 off the front here at this point. It looks like with K Falk as well as Kona Bear's in there, and then Lynn Beaumont is in there as well from Team Fearless. Vixen's there with it looks like Kona Bear. And we did have a question actually about the Vixen team, whether or not they're mainly using that setup that we saw from Beth Larry York actually last week. And it doesn't look like they all have mohawks. Carrie actually without the mohawk, but with the shades on. The Vixen, for some reason, crew always looking slick. I think it's that red, black, and white kit that some reason makes them have this like intimidating look to them actually, plus the name Vixen there in there. But K-Falk lean things out here, 3.6 watts per kilogram, only 3 in the A's here off the front. We've got Odebrab as well as Red from Team Fearless, 122 back. And then with the B category, Ingmo, Asperheim, as well as Fedorov, help me out here, Quentin.
Fedorovich.
Fedorovich, thank you. And Kate Hull as well as Min. Carissa is out there putting out the watts per kilogram at 2.7 watts per kilogram, 165 watts though. We're gonna have to talk about raw power all day, I think, here with Carissa. Otherwise she's not gonna be able to calm down maybe in the broadcast here. Mitch Wows is saying Mastery is the hero of Zwift, deserves. Mastery is the hero of the Zwift today. Coming back to that pack. Huge effort there coming from him. We'll see if he's able to hang on, though, and be a hero up and over the top of the climb as they are taking that right-hand turn here in just a moment. So this is the situation, though, with the women's category. Large group here within the Bs right now. Going to be battling it out for some points. Angmo, Highland, Holmes, as well as K. Hull. Also seen back here Mason and Muldoon in the C category battling out. So that's the current situation with the women. Up at the front here, Kale Falk here, still hammer out 4.0 watts per kilogram. Kona Bear and Beaumont. This is a pretty even matchup here, though, Quentin, I think, at the front end of this course with these women.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting matchup, and it's going to be, well, very interesting to see how they play it out in Box Hill, and especially if they want to stay together in the first climb, because like we saw, there's a group behind them, and if this trio splits out in the first climb, there's still a very long way around on the flat routes of London to come back to that second Box Hill where the final decision is going to be made. So it's going to be a play of poker, really, to see if someone wants to keep that group together, or if one of the three feels confident enough to go on her own and basically TT our way to victory today.
I'd be watching out for Beaumont for the climb. I have a feeling. I think Beaumont, maybe Falk's a strong climber as well, but I think Beaumont might, out of the 3 of them, be a fairly strong climber. We'll have to wait and see, though, how the matchup is on the climb. The climb is going to be the point that does matter here. But also, if 2 of them do stick together and able to pull a climber back in, I know Carrie is a very strong rider on the flats. I'll be watching out for her there as well. So looking at the social media integration here. Now, again, we do have Frank Garcia coming back from CVR, Cyclogent CEO, to answer questions, comments, have a conversation about all things CVR, actually. So Brett Boniface actually saying FG equals racing visionary and pioneer. Thanks for all your efforts over at the social media integration. If you want to comment or bring any questions to Frank, we'll have him on at the end of the broadcast. I'll have a list of all the questions or comments that come through Twitter, as well as on the Facebook post. We got a couple more comments coming through as the men are about to hit up the climb here. I want to make sure to see what everybody's saying here. Jason Vera saying, hoping watching Zwift racing will speed my recovery. Appendectomy. Thanks a lot, Jason. Good to have you here, and I hope so as well. Hi, I joined Zwift this week. Really enjoyed my virtual racing experience, David Harding. That's awesome to hear. Good to have you here. Beth Larry York is saying that Mohawk for Vixen is optional. I love the smiley face. Good to have you here, Beth, as well. Go Vincent, go Carrie, go ladies. And we are seeing Jacob Debsky coming through here. Been here in the morning. Box Hill will verify everything. Same as downhill section where everyone need to be very careful. Good to have you here, Debsky. And no, Brigadol! The Vikings have lost electricity. They are too far north. Somebody get those guys a power line. And it looks like Bring It All will not be able to finish out his race today. Mechanical, where's the team car when we need it? And I'm not even sure the team car can bring you back in that situation here, Quentin. It's a road race, not a crit. No replacement wheels or free laps today.
Well, who said the team car can bring you back in a road race? I mean, especially in the climb. I mean, I guess this is London and not Spain, but I mean, everything's possible at this point. And well, I was expecting a team car update for the last Zwift update, but I guess it's going to be for the next one.
So no team car till the next one. I don't think that's official. Just so you guys know, that's not official. But the let's see here. Adam Zim is saying, "Oh, just tuned in. Good luck. Good to have you here, Adam Zim." Team Draft is in the house. Is Team Draft up at the front of the race as well? I am seeing a bikes and beer kit, but I'm not sure that's actually a draft rider. I think that's just a someone using the kit out there. But good to have Adam Zim in the house. And the climbing has started here for the men. We are seeing up in the 8 watts per kilogram here coming from Bain. Under 18 rider, actually, 195 beats per minute, beating like a butterfly right now. Herman's there as well, 4.7 watts per kilogram. Kim Little in that kit that he's getting a fine for from Cyclingit, it sounds like, but maybe worth it with the yellow E-Crit kit on with the yellow Tron bike as well. Now KRT making the way to the front with Vang as well as Jonathan Levy out of Seattle. Levi out of Seattle here. We have to retrain the brain here, but now it looks like Annabelle also from Innovation. I'm not seeing a lot of Innovation riders though out on course here. He may be fairly isolated, but actually, it's going to be the course that's going to be isolating riders as they're popping off the back one by one like popcorn here. And it looks like there's nothing but mayhem. Look at the suffering. Everybody who's behind here is falling off at this point is in full on what I like to call drool mode, drooling off the side of their handlebars right now. It's KP here coming out of Belgium. Now trying to hold on 161 beats per minute. Bruno Vieira now just barely hanging on 174. Looks like Matasco here out of Poland now 181 beats per minute. Mueller is there as well out of Germany. We'll give him a ride on. Vanderbrent there from Team Experimental. Not going to be hanging on and be able to support his teammate, it looks like. It looks like Kim Little may be isolated at this point as I look through and I don't see too many other riders from Team Experimental. Vanderbilt maybe make it, but now there's an attack here. And this is the point to attack. Quentin, open over the top. Everybody's at that last moments. And you've got about 30 seconds to a minute that you can kick and put the suffering in. Not a whole lot left on the incline, though.
Yeah, not sure that the best point to attack, but that's definitely the best point to make the one behind you suffer. Like suffer a lot because everyone at the back of the pack is expecting some kind of recovery and some kind of things that are very disturbing, but everyone is waiting for the pack to slow down at the top of the climb. Yeah, I was a little bit like disturbed. I'm going to try to ignore that, but everyone is trying to recover after a very brutal effort. And you come to the top of the climb, and if you have something in your legs left, you want to try to push it to drag some of the stronger rider with you and make a break. Basically, that's where you make the break.
Full on attack here from Herman, though. Vision Cycling. Maestre is still in there. He made it up over the top, actually. Portugal rider here. The hero of Zwift, we're calling him today. And we'll see if he can hang on all the way through. Herman going for a 5:48. And it looks like a 5:51 going to be coming from ZS there. Goran there, 5:52. These are crazy fast times. And again, these are for invitations to the CVR World Cup that will be given out. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar here, we are into the full-on winter season for the CVR World Cup. 2 halves each 4 weeks. Best 3 races from each half count toward points. Winner of each zone gets an invitation to the CVR World Cup live. So must be accepted to be crowned winner. So you have to accept that invitation. So the reason why there's so much motivation to be throwing out huge numbers here is because there is a lot on the line here. Annabelle Webb, it looks like here. We've got almost 7,000 riders out on course, actually. It looks like 6,689 right now. We're pushing close to 7,000 at this point, actually, from all over the world here. And it looks like KRT here, these 2 riders who are out on course, making the attacks right now. 4.4, 5.2 watts per kilogram. And it looks like Zhujian Whiteley now off the back, though. It looks like those attacks over that last kick over the top of Box Hill are putting the suffering into the legs now. And it's about 10 seconds back here to Goran, as there is a group going out the front of about 20 riders, it looks like. This is a dangerous move for anybody who wants to be involved in this race to the finish now, Quentin.
Exactly. And we were talking about KRT a little bit earlier and how they're going to be the one playing their cards today because they have 3 riders, I think. 3 or 4 riders in the front group. And I won't give names because that might give out some of the strategy. But I heard that it was one of these riders' birthday today. And, well, I'm just going to say this. And so they have something to celebrate today. And I think they might play some cards to do just that.
Interesting. Well, we're going to have to maybe grab a happy birthday song. We'll see if we can do that actually here. Now, Vang now here, we can see KRT making his way to the front.
Get Frank to sing a little bit.
We'll get Frank to sing. Oh, my gosh. And so Bruno Vera here, 4.2 watts per kilogram. Herman now in there as well. 20 off the front. Not sure anyone's going to be coming back to this group now, as we do see 36 seconds back or so. Maestre now off the back now. The hero has been dropped. He was with them, but perhaps did not have the kick to stay with them with the speed that they were throwing down to the downhill section. So 27 seconds off the back here. He's going to have to be working to hold off the chasers here of Trzynski, who usually does not get dropped, actually. Interesting to see Trzynski off the back here, right along with Goran coming out of France here. So 2 super strong riders, unable to hang on, though, with the pace that these riders are setting up the front. So KRT here with 3 riders in the front, the team that is set up for sure for the best chances, I would think, to take the W out there today. And with last week's winner in there as well, we're going to have to see if anybody can challenge KRT today. Tobo now going off the front here out of Denmark here, 171 beats per minute, 8.7 watts per kilogram with an attack on the climb out of the underground now. Annabelle from Innovation now making that chase there, 9 watts per kilogram. Levi is there. Jonathan Levi now with Vang, and it will be, looks like, Innovation. Alvik now there as well. Now, there are some sleepers, I think, amongst this group because there are a whole lot of new names that I am not familiar with, actually, at the front end of this group now. I am seeing was Alvek. I'm unfamiliar with that rider here. Bain, not super familiar with Bain. I've seen him once or twice before. Maestre, again, another one that I've not seen a whole lot out there. So we'll see if some of these wild cards might have the effort because, you know, you've got a tier above just a category there is a tier above that, which is the elite that I like to call them. Now, it's not official in Zwift or anything with the categories, but there's definitely riders that can hold 5.0 plus watts per kilogram that are out there. There's a full watt per kilogram that is another level of racing that we may see from some of these riders out here today that are new to Zwift. We'll have to see if they do have that kind of an effort, Quentin. Anybody that you're familiar with that I'm not? I mean, Alvik, I've not seen this rider, I don't think, out there in these races, at least so far.
Well, I'm not sure I'm too familiar with these new names, and well, it's always interesting to see how the newbies play against the old guys as well, and it's always very exciting because they might be very strong, but they have to see how it plays out. And we see right now Adam Webb just barely drafting the pack, and he's trained a lot about this kind of drafting, and that's something the newcomers don't usually have. Maybe science is a big word, but the science of drafting, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the newcomers, the more experienced riders, the guys who have team around them, and the elite riders. It's a very interesting mix that we have in this front group. Still very large group as well. I'm very surprised that that many riders went that fast over Box Hill, and yeah, it's. I mean, at that point, anything is still possible.
I think there's a huge motivation, though, at this point for the riders to make the climb. I also think that they've had a month and a half to train for this or so, right? So I think that there's definitely, early on in the winter season and the preseason, I have a feeling there were a lot of riders just getting into shape. It was just announced, and I have a feeling there's been a focus on this this time actually for the Zwift racing with two major competitions going on. We've got the eCrit, we got the CVR World Cup, both with live event invitations out there, both with real prize money on the line actually. So I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot of riders making these groups actually and battling out at another level of racing. So in the women's race, though, we do have Kay Falk off the front. Actually, she attacked up and over the top of the climb, it looks like here. So Vision solo off the front now at this point, 2.224, 225 here. Beaumont now trying to chase that down, or at least get away from Kona Bear, who now is off the back in third place in this A category. Now the B riders are chasing her down, though, and it looks like Ingmo as well as Anya here, I believe, is now chasing things down. Hillen there as well. Asperheim now off the back. It is completely torn apart now, it looks like here, as we do have Kirsty here trying to chase that down. And Ingmo and Fedorovich, a little closer.
You're almost there. You're
almost there. 4.2 watts per kilogram here coming out of Poland now. Kona Bear here now. Vixen, though, going to be taking up third place with the A category. Falk off the front now, and just in that Sagan tuck, taking a little rest as she's got a full lap alone out on course here today before the finish line. So a long effort still ahead of her. It's going to be over an hour of racing and over 30 minutes to 40 minutes, somewhere between 30 to 40 minutes off the front actually for Kay Falk. So it's going to be a full-on TT effort for her all the way to the line out there today.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very long day for Kristen. I mean, when you're at that point and you can just maintain that kind of power for such a long time, it means that you're very confident in what you can do. And I mean, if she felt good enough to drop the other two and just go on herself, she might be on a roll. And I mean, she's got a very good gap right now, and it's going to be very difficult to bring her back, considering she attacked on the hardest part, which means she might be one of the strongest today.
Yeah, and I have a feeling. I mean, with 147, it's gonna be hard to bring that back. Now on the downhill section, though, it's definitely going to come back a little bit for that time for the riders that are making this chase right now. I mean, 134, we see it drop very quickly actually right now as we're looking back at Beaumont as well as Kona Bear there on the riders list now. 7 seconds is the difference. I have a feeling that Kona Bear might be bringing this back, actually. Vixen going to get back into it for second place here, but Beaumont continues to turn the screws. 215. We are seeing a Kona Bear here 160 watts or so, 153 beats per minute. Beaumont up into that 173. So Lynn, I think, working a little harder than Carrie at this point. Carrie now going to have to really kick, though, to bring this back on the uphill, but only 126 up here. So, Falk, it's going to be a long day of trying to hold on to a minute 30 or so. Now, the men are attacking like crazy up at the front of this race right now, but we are having a couple of issues with our fan view mode. I'm going to see if I can get back with them consistently here. I am seeing it looks like Jujon Herman as well. It's all I have in the list, though, at this point, as riders are starting to disappear left and right. So we're going to see if we can stick with them as best as we can. At the front end of the race, it says that we have 0 people in the race right now. So if I go ahead and look, we've got 1 rider, but 0 people in the race. Now we do have the KRT rider here, Vang, now suddenly appearing. 1 rider, 2 riders. So we'll see if we can stick with the racers out there today. 6,289 riders out on course, but now we have 22 now suddenly showing up. So we're going to see if we can find the pack, if they'll come back from the disappearing dimension out on course today. I want to have a conversation actually with Frank about this, as if he has any concerns about the fan view. Actually, I have a feeling that CVR might be thinking about this fan view thing that has been coming up here and there with their events coming up here. I think Zwift would as well, as with the eCrit live events coming up in a couple of months here. But Webb here, 4.3 watts per kilogram now, as we do see, it looks like unable to find them though for the moment though. So we'll see here if we can stick with them. Every time we do click on a rider, it seems, are we making them disappear? When we click on them, it seems that we may, like, there they are, and then we've got Kim Little.
No,
Kim Little.
I think
he's gonna make it happen. Kim's consistent.
Yeah. I think the thing with the CVR organization is that for every race of every zone, they have what they call league watchers, and there are people who ride alongside the racers, so they might not have the issues we got like by staying in the pen with the avatar, and just being able to ride along the course might help a little bit with that little bit of technical issue that we experience right now.
It was interesting. So this is I have this. So this is just kind of fun actually, but it's like a track stand of the shadow of ZS here, though, that I got. I mean, we're now doing trials out on Zwift. So this is the trials competition on Zwift. As you can see, really great job here of balancing on that back wheel, really pushing this. Look at the pedals back and forth. Great brake stand there, but we're back in with Kim. We've found the riders again. Amazing trials competition there going on in the middle of a race at 167 beats per minute, able to stop dead and then go up, down, left, right, hold the track stand. And, you know, I didn't see him jump up on the phone booth though. So gotta take a couple points away out of 10.
Yeah, that has to take some points away. And I mean, on the other hand, he's been able to jump right back into the peloton, so that's a big jump. I mean, they were gone for hours, and he just right back in, so that's kind of a big jump as well. So you might give him some credit for that.
Yeah,
But
super impressive move there.
yeah, we see still the peloton like just hanging out in the street of downtown London. And I mean, they're still like midway through the flat section, so not much is going to happen unless somebody wants to surprise Supak. But I don't think anybody is going to want that, because if they want to throw a TT effort in there, they know they have to go through Box Hill afterwards. And I mean, Box Hill hurts enough as it is, so I don't think you want to add some difficulty into that. But yeah, I mean, the next thing is going to be who's got the watts to throw down on 6 minutes, and maybe try to drop everyone. And the interesting thing is that on the first 4 races of the day, we always had a couple of, well, not a couple of guys, but some small groups coming for the finish. And we might have 4, 5, or 6 riders coming together into the finish. And afterward, it's going to come down to whether someone can fly away at the top of the stairs, or if it's going to come down to a sprint at the last finish. And the London sprint is a very interesting one because of the profile of the last 200 or 300 meters, with that slight downhill and just a little bit of uphill in the last 100 meters. So definitely a very tricky sprint.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so interesting what you're talking about there with how many riders are amongst this group. And I have a feeling that might be leaned to definitely a strong group at this time of day, but also just the fact that there's so many riders that jump into the E zone, that it's such a popular time with the European crowd out there, that you have a lot of riders in there. So there's a lot of wheels to grab onto as well. And so it gives a little bit more opportunity, I think, Quentin, for somebody to hang on to the group, because there's just that extra wheel, which creates that little extra space that you can fade back to. And those meters matter actually so much, because it really is just a race of meters a lot of times, with a few more pedal strokes you have to put out at 500 watts or at 350 watts or whatever it might be to hang on to the pack, Quentin.
Exactly, and every pixel matter in a race, and every last heartbeat that you can save is going to save you maybe the win, and maybe to be dropped at some point, and that extra wheel, that extra pixel that you can get by entering this field is going to help you get to where you want to be in the race. And the interesting thing is that with these zones, you have so many options. And with 8 zones, a lot of riders are conflicted between a choice of riding with the bigger field that might go a little bit faster but with a lot more riders, or maybe try to go for the qualification, for the playoffs, or directly the live event with first place in a field that maybe has less top riders, but are way more difficult to hang on to in that kind of route. So it's a choice that the riders made to race that particular race, that particular zone. And well, I guess it depends on what you're looking for in a race, but definitely interesting to see that specific time zone getting that much recognition from the whole peloton.
We are seeing, it looks like a couple comments actually come through here about this specifically. David Crisp actually saying, good to see new names up front. There are definitely a few new names up front there in this race today. Always good to see the new people out on course. We are seeing also coming from George Caldera saying, go to my friend Bruno Vieira. So good to see Bruno out there still hanging on to the front end of this group as well. Go Anna, go Kenneth, go Frode, go PTZ coming from him. We've got Timo coming in here cheering on, it looks like H. Ogier saying, look at him. We'll find Ogier out there on course. Stephen Smith saying, go to BRT at the pointy end of the race. Stephen Smith, thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll be finding BRT is definitely been active at the front end of this race. If we can stay with the front end of the race. ZS is going to be our anchor, it looks like, out there today. Bruno Vieira is still in there, though. Looking through here, Jacob Debsky is saying that it's going to be the end of Box Hill, downhill attack, full on. Tactics of the day is his prediction. And or a long full-on sprint after solid effort up and down. People will be tired, very tired. Z Kreider in the house said, just like you were talking about, Quentin, actually, wanted to avoid the crowds, races the 5 a.m. CVR. That's a good tactic as well, I would think, in order to, be in the points race.
Exactly. To be in the points, you have to sometimes adjust a little bit your schedule. And Zeke Ryder is currently second or third of her series, so that's a playoff spot. And she's going to be at the same position that has. Some of the riders. Christian is in contention for the first place, as well as Beaumont and Koneberg. So. Every bit of tactics count, and the chops of the race is definitely one side of the tactics here.
Yeah. So the with that, I'm thinking we're looking at the women's race. Actually, as you were saying, Falk here off the front, currently leading. Did you say in this? Or?
Yeah, Falk is leading because I think she was second or third last week. And the leader, Rachel Elliott, isn't there today. So as of right now, Christian is virtually leading the rankings for the women in the E zone.
In the E zone. But here's the thing: the winter season, it is your best three. So I have a feeling Rachel may be doing the best three, since she did show up, win last week, and she's the type of rider who can just show up for three. As long as it's a little risky, as long as there's no technical issues or anything like that, she is a rider who can be fairly confident in her ability to dominate any race that she does show up to out on course, though. So the riders within the men's race are about to take a right-hand turn into the underground here. We're going to try and get back with them. We are having trouble, though, finding the front end of the group. We're going to see if we can get back with them. Guron here, Murkia out of France, is just turning off and going to be our anchor for the moment. Bruno Vieira, here we go. Back in with PTZ, about to make their way up and over the top. But they like to stop and do these track stands today. It's a very interesting tactic that they have going on here with all the track stands.
The good thing is that we saw Ogier like his friend wanted us to in the comment earlier. Well, it was kind of transparent, but we grabbed him. So that's a good point, and like today, that's as good as it gets.
So Z Kreider is saying, I actually work too late for this one. Gotcha, Z. Jacob Debsky saying, same here, Z. Moved from E to B zone due to work. And that's what we were talking about before the race, actually, with Frank, is that it's very flexible for anyone's schedule. You have 8 races throughout the entire 24 hours in a day, actually, to be able to jump into. So you are able to race at any time of the, well, not any time, but 8 different times throughout the day. They've been as flexible as I think you possibly could in order to be able to jump into these races. So the final attacks happening here. Hopefully we can catch all of the watts and all of the attacks as they make their way up onto the top here. We do have M. Vang from the KRT team here attacking now 7.9 watts per kilogram. KRT definitely set up as a team to be watching out for, but our fan view just is having a little bit of a struggle out here today. We're going to see if we can hopefully get some solid images, though, for the finish out here. Jonathan Levi here, 7.1 watts per kilogram on the front of this race. Definitely a strong climber. Also a great sprinter. Showed us that in the last couple of weeks when I called him out as only as climber. So definitely going to be watching out for him. 186 beats per minute, though. Definitely way up there in the heart rate right now. We'll give him a ride on as he's definitely suffering at 390 watts right now. Richard Law saying, go PTZ Bruno. Beware of him in the sprint. He'll have to hang on for the sprint, though. Will he be able to hang on over the top? How many you think? I don't think we're going to have this same group over the top. I think the cards are going to be thrown on the table at this point.
Yeah, there's a very few chances that this group is going to stay the same at the finish line, and I mean, there's going to be attacks on Box Hill, and they're already pretty advanced in the climb right now. But I mean, that's where people are going to start like throwing their cards, and we see right now Levi, Little, and I think it's Herman right behind him. And these are some of the strongest guys you can find. The one thing though is that we got DS right alongside them, and that might like trouble them a little bit because DS is a very well-known flyer on Zwift, and well, very well-known troll as well. So I mean, the guys are aware of that, and I'm sure they will try not to draft him. And they're currently chasing Vang as well, so that gives them an anchor, and well, that gives Levi an anchor to avoid leading the group, and that's going to be interesting to see what he makes of that.
6 seconds now off the front. KRT, the Norwegian mountain biker here. Levi, though, because they're on a climb, can take the chase up, but it needs to be a full-on chase because there is a little bit of a draft, though, still on the climbs here. Kim Little here is responding very quickly as Jonathan attacks here at 6 watts per kilogram. Herman now hanging on to that wheel. We do have predictions coming through here, and it looks like Adam Zim saying Kim Little for the win, Herman second. We'll have to see if he does pan out. Let's hear your predictions. Quentin, as chat, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch lets us know what they think is going to be happening. Where's your prediction at today for the W out there today?
Well, it's definitely a tricky one, but well, I mean, Vang looks like to be gone from way out, and is going to have the hardest time maintaining that gap in the descent. Alone against 10 guys, it's going to be very difficult. But I mean, one rider that's very surprising to me right now is the condition of Mathieu Drujon that we see right there. And if this guy can make it over the top of Box Hill, it's going to be very hard to beat in a sprint. I mean, he's not usually such a good climber, and if he can hang on to the front group, he's going to be one heck of a sprinter to beat in the final sprint.
It'll just be about resting up at that point, Quentin. If he does make it up over the top, the question is, can he handle the final attacks over the top here?
Exactly, and I mean, you know there's going to be attacks, and we might see Kim Little or Jonas Herman. As well as
you just spoke, well, actually, maybe, there it is.
Yeah.
An attack here coming from Jonas now, getting back to Vang's wheel. Now, this is a threat. If they get together and start working together, we've got KRT here with Vang as well now. One little kick coming from him. These two are 5 seconds off the front. This is a threat, but there is a huge pack behind them. If they do not attack each other, if they do not separate out that pack, there will still be a pack of 10 to 15 riders all boosting each other's speed on the downhill, and it's going to be quite a day on this downhill for Vang and Herman. This is a risky move here. Drujon now attacking. Last chance for him to go without bringing the rest of the pack with him. Double up here from Vision at the front here, but now it looks like Whiteley here. Watch out for him in the sprint. The other BRT, the spectators were saying, team members saying, watch out for him in the sprint, but it doesn't look like he may be able to make it for the sprint here. 8 seconds off the front now. Vang, Drujon though, unable to go, it looks like still. Can he get back on the wheel? That's going to be the question. Whiteley 6 seconds back. Mail's there. Annabelle, Hoppy Marita, they're all together now. I think they're trusting that they're going to be able to bring these riders back. But if it gets out to 20 seconds with a kick over the top of that 15% gradient, 13% gradient or so over the top of Box Hill, I'm not sure it's going to come back here. Now, this is a lot of strong riders, though. There's a lot of horsepower in there. KRT have 3 riders. I'm not sure they're going to let it go.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if they trust Vang to take that one, or if they want to put Levi or Mel in the leading position. But now we see Kim Little reacting. I think that's him reacting at the top of the front of the peloton. He knows that it's a serious threat because 2 Vision riders and 1 KRT rider. He has to make the effort right now to try to bring back the pack in the beginning of the descent, because afterward it's all about momentum and speed. So it's going to be interesting as Levi passed next to him before disappearing right before us.
Yeah, so that was at the last moment there, though, that you really could hold off to try and get back to these riders. Now, he put out way more watts per kilogram up and over the top of that 13% gradient, but only brought it back to 11 seconds. This is what I was talking about. It went out to enough that on this downhill, it's going to be all about the boosting that they can get from having so many riders amongst them. And here's the thing. KRT are not going to be super motivated to bring this back because there's a top 3 position up front here with Vang and Herman and Zhujian all off the front. So 3 riders here that are in position for a W. 9 seconds of difference though, and now here comes the boost we're talking about. They're about halfway down. They're at this negative 5% gradient, and riders who come to the front, anybody who pushes out 4 to 5 to 6 watts per kilogram to the front end of this pack will boost the speed every time they do that. These riders from the front of this race are going to have to put out 6 watts per kilogram. They're going to let ZS go, I think, not try and draft on him too much as he continues to boost the speed. They're kind of in a difficult situation here with chasers full on. They don't want this pack to be with them. At the same time, they've got this front situation that they have to deal with. So it is a difficult situation to be in here. Zhujian, though, now we're seeing 3.7 watts per kilogram. Now Herman's there as well, and it looks like 3 still on the front as long as we can keep him in the fan view mode here as Matthew Zhujian, Jay Herman, and someone in another dimension that is going to be the KRT rider, Vang, still on the front here. We're going to see if we can find him in that other dimension if he comes back to us. Please, Vang, where are you? Come back to us,
Come
Vang.
back, buddy. Come back.
Come back for the finish here. We'll see if we can get him. Looking through here, we're seeing Ivan Dominguez. Good to see you in the broadcast here as we head into the final. What's Ivan's prediction? He's saying, oh my goodness, these boys are moving. They definitely are moving. This is for the final. This is for the final sprint. This is for the points in the CVR World Cup for an invitation to a competition that currently has $106,000 prize pool that will be taking place later in the year here after the after the winter season and the postseason here. All back together here. It is 1 second is the difference. Chris Wonos is there. It's all back together. They pulled them back, and it was almost all for naught, though, with all the attacks now, and they've got to be really beating themselves up now at this point. But now Jonathan Levi here with the attack from way out, trying to loosen up the legs again. Are they setting up V Mail? That's the question here. Mail going right along with them, or are they going to try and go off the front here? Jonathan Levi going so hard he disappears from the course here. 4.2 watts per kilogram here coming for V Mail now off the front. Now Vang was caught, but it might have all been a distraction, Quentin, to try and set somebody else up.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's somebody's birthday, so KRT is riding hard, and if I'm seeing right, this particular guy is even a fraud. But now we see Drujon going from way out as well. So interesting tactic here from Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew. Going to be interesting if he can hold on to this, because this is an attack from way out, and 8 watts per kilogram here. Not sure he's going to be able to hold on to it, because this pack is about to ramp up their attack, and I think KRT can't let this go for too long if they want to hold this down. Actually, no, it might be over 5 seconds. Can they close down 5 seconds? Somebody's going to have to play the sacrifice at this point. Domestique. Here comes Alvin Novak now, unattached rider though, up toward the front. It's also going to be Jerketh as well now, coming out of Norway, starting to ramp it up. 5 seconds into 7 watts per kilogram. We're about to see all the attacks coming out. Matthew has a solid 5 watts per kilogram still off the front, but it's going to be maybe Jujan able to hang on. Again, 8 watts per kilogram, way out, catching the pack out, I think, at this point. He's within the 300-meter mark. I don't think they're going to see him again, but 11 watts per kilogram coming from Krzywonos, though. Jujan trying to hang on to it. Here comes the pack, though, and it's going to be Jujan, I believe. 4 seconds still at this point, and Matthew Jujan with the attack from way out. Herman trying to close it down. Vision is going to take 1-2, followed up by Jonathan Levi in third place, it looks like, today. Solid effort all around from the riders, but Vision doubles up with Jujan from way out. Herman with an attack from the group. And Jonathan Levi, it looked like, for third place. Let's make sure I got that right with the replay here. It looks like it was Jujan able to go from way out, hold off just barely to the line. Krzywonos now attacking. Look at the wattages, though, as they are attacking. Herman kicks into 16, 17 for a moment there. It's got to be about 1,200 watts or so. Levi now trying to hang on to his wheel, unable to do so right on that wheel there. Then it was Krzywonos, it looks like. It looks like Little there for 5th, Mail for 6th across the line. Solid effort all around from the riders, though. Now back in with the women as we go away from the replay there. Kale Falk all still off the front now. We are seeing 4.3 watts per kilogram. Beaumont is there as well, 124. Now starting to walk away from Carrie Conabear. 16 seconds back now, 3.9 watts per kilogram from the Vixen team here. 164 beats per minute. Grinding out that 60 RPM right now. Definitely feeling that climb. And you would think on a smart trainer at this point, if she is grinding out that kind of RPM, Quentin.
Yeah, Carrie is someone who goes very deep in her effort. I mean, I remember in Paris when she actually won the performance race on the last day of racing, and she's going very deep. And that Box Hill is definitely maybe not the best place to go that hard, because, well, Box Hill can't be the best of anything, but that's just me. I mean, she's definitely going hard, and Beaumont is maybe not that far. I mean, the gaps can open and close very fast in that kind of climb. So at this point of the race, the second place is still very much up for grabs.
Sorry, I had a quick little question here coming through here that I had to just address there real quick. Sorry about that. So, Carrie here looks like 4.0 watts per kilogram. Big up to Phil coming from Stephen Smith. Peter Campbell as well out there from the BRT team saying, come on, Whiteley. So definitely a lot of BRT riders there cheering on their teammate. Let's take a quick little look at the results here, Quentin, as the women are finishing up out here today. I actually haven't logged in over at ZwiftPower.com just yet, so I have no results if I don't do that. So the live results that came through are not giving me the correct one just yet. We do have to wait. They are generated every 30 minutes or so, so we'll have to wait probably another minute or so.
Yeah, a couple of minutes, I think. There are just a couple of minutes for the men, I think. Or maybe, oh no, here they are. So yeah, we have so Mathieu Drujon in first, Johannes Herman second in second position, then Jonathan Levi in third, and then it's Chris Fonos, Kim Little, Vidar Mel, Whiteley in seventh, Alvik in eighth, Opi Merida, then it's Bain for 10th, and then we find Vang and Kayland from KRT Annibal from Innovation, Pettinger from MTCT, and Björkset is going to be for 15th place, the last rider of the first peloton. And then it's going to be Auger for 16th, and Szerzynski, long-time Zwifter from Team Poland, 17th. Tolbol from Denmark, and then Vieira and Mueller to close top 20.
Able to get in that top 20 there. Tobias Mueller there. Nice job from Team R2. So solid job division out there. KRT as well for the podium spots. Team Poland there with Krzywonos. Poland also with Szerzynski there in 17th place. It looks like Team Experimental there with the 5th place there. Solid effort there from Kim Little there. Vidyar Mail there as well in 6th. So a lot of the heavy hitters up at the front here. Now the points, that's the other thing, the points structure that I would love to have a conversation. Like, how do you actually get into the final for the point structure? So, because in the ECRIT, right, it's points are given out from 1st to 20th place, correct? Yeah. All the way to the finish. So maybe we'll wait for Frank if we can get him back in here at the end. That's definitely questions that I would love to be laid out as clearly as possible for all those watching the broadcast out there today. We'll see if Frank, if you are watching, we are ready for you to come back in as the women do finish up their race here. We'll be covering them. And we're going to have a conversation with Frank Garcia about all things CVR. And he is, for those of you who don't know, CEO of Cycling Gent. Looks like we are getting Frank back here, actually, I believe. And we will both do coverage of the women's race as well as have a little chat here with Frank. Frank, just a heads up, if you can use earpieces, it does help, or turn me down just a little bit because you are getting a little bit of feedback of me being loud, silly, Nathan, through your mic just a little bit here and there, just so you know. Frank, how's it going? Welcome back to the broadcast.
I was going to run and get some headphones.
You can do that if you want to. You can do that if you want to. It's
let me do that. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, we're just in time for Kristin's finish, actually, with Conneberg going over Box Hill right now, and yeah, Kristin is in the last descent, and she actually managed to stay alone in the front with a very good time at Box Hill both times, and well, it was a very impressive TT effort from her today. And
super solid.
She's trying to, very solid, and she's trying to loosen up the legs a little bit, as she's not in that Sagan track that she was using in the first downhill. Oh well, just as I'm saying that, she's doing it now, but that's just because she liked to make me say the things as well.
So, funny fact, Tom of Kaland, who was sitting in for a good amount of the race today. I have a feeling that you're talking about that they're trying to set up Tom, but ends up, it looks like, in, how did Tom end up in the sprint there?
12th place for Tom, and it was definitely his birthday. So if we can throw it out there, we'll get Frank to sing "Happy Birthday, Tom" when he comes back with earplugs.
Happy birthday!
We still have to do that.
That is not going to happen.
That is not going to happen. Frank is here. Frank is here. Says that is not going to happen.
Well,
so
that's too bad.
Frank,
I mean, you have to show a little bit of sportsmanship, even if it's not for your
happy birthday.
There it is. There it is. He says, "Happy birthday." I think that's the most that we're going to get out of Frank as far as singing "Happy Birthday" goes. So looks like K Falk is going to walk away with this one out there today for the women. Solid effort from her as well. So Vision out there with a solid result all around. Then we do have, it looks like Beaumont here. Not going to be too much of a battle, I don't think, to the line any longer. She's got almost a minute over Carey. So that's going to be your top three. Now within the B category, it looks like Vidodoric as well as Engmo. And then it looks like Kirsti Hole here as well, going to be bringing it in for the top 3 as well. So it is all out TTs between the top women in each of these categories. So Frank, it's a great time actually to bring you in to look at this, because we're looking at 3 different categories, battling it out on course here. What do these mean to the racers for these results in this E-zone right now as they win each of these categories?
So you get 1,000 points if you win, and then every spot below that is 2 points down. And it just continues that way through 500 riders. How's that?
Oh, wow. 500 riders.
So everybody scores who finishes for the first 500. After that, it's 0.
Okay, gotcha. And so, and that's within their category. So they're battling out within their category. Is that right?
That's correct. They're battling out within their bracket.
Okay,
and,
sorry, bracket.
I use bracket.
Apologies.
No,
I'll get that right.
No worries. I think it's good to just distinguish between the two, because, for instance, even when you sign up for a race, it has the watts per kilogram categories, which we ignore for what we're doing. And the other thing that you'll see is we adjusted brackets after the preseason and actually after one race in the regular season. And that will continue. So we have some unknowns, and you might see people who are clearly misbracketed. So they came in and said, I'm a D rider, and we didn't have any data, and they're obviously, finishing 4th with the A's. They will get rebracketed. So there was some, maybe a little bit of confusion over that, maybe some concerns like, hey, I know this other rider, and I got bumped up and they didn't get bumped up. The good news is, if you got bumped up, you get to keep your points. The other rider might not, depending on how far that difference is. The officials will decide how many points move if we rebracket you. So that just gives you an idea of the sense for brackets, all performance based. We'll have a few more bumps through the season with a lot of the influx of the unknown people. And then as we come to the spring season, things should be settled down quite a bit with regard to performance brackets.
Gotcha. So the invitations then are A bracket only. Is that correct for the winning invitations to the final?
That's correct. So this gets a little complex. So I'll try and be brief. People have told me I'm not too good at being brief. So feel free to cut me off and ask me pointed questions as we go. But at World Cup, we have 2 divisions. We have the performance division and the elite division. And elite is what it sounds like. Performance is people that we bring in to handle, I call them mere mortals, not genetic mutants, but somebody maybe more like me than someone like Kim or a pro rider as well. So there's 2 ways to work inside of the World Cup, and the multiple ways to get there. So the first way you see in the league is the A bracket winners of each of the zones go to the World Cup in that season. So the winter season. I'm going to cut you off
real quick, Frank. Real quick. Sure. Speaking of A bracket winners, we do have, it looks like Falk coming across the line for the A bracket today. Just ahead of Beaumont, it looks like here. So solid result for her. She's been off the front for a full lap, actually. Full lap, all by her lonesome. And it was a solid 40 minutes from the last time we saw her come across the underground, actually. So solid effort there from Kay Falk there. We'll see if we can find Beaumont, and it looked like a couple of others coming to the line, but there are a lot of riders to work our way through here. So if we can find them, we will do so, but it is going to be Beaumont followed up by Carrie Conenbear there that are going to be taking 2nd and 3rd, barring any mishaps to the line. Frank, sorry for interrupting you there, but you're saying that in the A bracket, the invitations will be going out to the winners for that. And it sounds like there's also a postseason as well that's going to be handing some more out too.
That's correct. So you have the regular season, you'll have 8 people move on. And then you have the postseason, and the postseason is a tournament, so it's more head-to-head racing. They'll race inside of a larger race, but you'll basically be racing the one other person. The first one to cross the line advances. And then you'll get another person, but they'll race in the spring season World Cup versus the winter season. That's just a timing thing. Got to get time off of work, get travel plans, that sort of thing. At the end of the postseason is the World Cup for that particular season. That leaves us an open invite as well, so we can invite a person into the elite bracket as well. Performance bracket, the best way to get to the performance bracket is to join CVR World Cup training, and then we pick 10 males and 10 females out of training. I won't get into all the complexities of that, but it's how well you train. We rank you based on how well you train. It's not your power. And then we pick a power band, and the top 10 people for training in that power band, men and women, are invited to a camp. It'll be outside of LA in California this year, as the World Cup will be in Los Angeles. We then have a camp. It's a full-on in real-life camp. Hunter, Alan, and Pika Coaching Group will be doing the camp. And from that, we'll select 6 men and 6 women to race in the performance bracket at the World Cup. And then we have some invites open that we'll pick as well for the performance bracket.
Okay, gotcha. So 2 different brackets. They're all going to be racing at the Los Angeles event, correct?
That's correct. We're at StubHub Center, which is where the NFL plays. We're not on the NFL field. We're in the Velodrome there, the Velo Center in Los Angeles, and that'll be it's an exciting venue. It's a huge venue. We're very excited. We'll have lots of excitement, and we'll have all of the racers racing there, both the elite and performance brackets. Very similar format to Paris. So we'll have what we call the mini stage race. We'll have heats on Saturday, and then we'll have the finals on Sunday, March 24th and 25th.
Gotcha. Okay, so looking through here, seeing if there's any other questions coming through. Frank Deal saying, thanks, Nathan. And Frank, well, what about Quentin? Frank, we got to thank Quentin as well, right? So thanks, Quentin. I'll throw it in there for Quentin as well. Any other questions that we've had throughout the broadcast?
Who's Quentin?
Who's Quentin?
I said Quentin who?
He's that weird French guy that comes in sometimes.
Yeah, that works late at night, which is a bit odd, I think, for the French.
Yeah, but French
that
always
was an inside joke. Everybody else is missing that one.
I'm totally missing it.
Up on it.
Yeah,
totally missing it.
Yeah, it's totally a private joke. But it had to be on screen.
So, okay. So there was confusion. So these are separate from Cyclogent rankings then. Like Cyclogent rankings are their own thing, and this series is its own thing as well. Because sometimes people, I think that their Cyclogent rankings will impact this. Do Cyclogent rankings have any impact on CVR World Cup?
Yes, but not in the way that most people think. So as you can see, the league and training is going to give us the vast majority of people who will be attending CVR World Cup, and we definitely want it to be that way. We want the league to be something that people come out and give their best efforts. We saw a lot of that today as an example, and Nathan, I was listening to your commentary. I think you're right. There's a lot on the line. People definitely working hard, and so that is the main focus. Now we have some invites open, and so rankings is sort of a cursory way for us to look at that. But this is really about the league and then rankings within training, but not general rankings. General rankings is a way for us to, on a very broad scale with not just people in the league, get people interested in racing. And we've got some changes coming on that front, no negative points. I think, Nathan, you would probably just jump for joy that DNFs, excuse me, will just get 0 points in the future. I know that was one of your hot buttons as well. So there's some changes coming. But we're doing a few things, and so that's been delayed a little bit as we focus on making sure we address any issues in the league or training.
Gotcha. So Cyclogen Rankings, a place that you can go for all racing out on Zwift, for how people are ranking for all the racing. And then there's another standing space that is the CVR World Cup as well, where people are gaining 1,000 points for a win and 2 points down for each place from there all the way through 500. And that is the seasons that we're looking at, the winter season that we were just looking at a moment ago. I'm going to bring this graphic back up. So the winter season, this is what they're shooting at. Now it's their best 3 though. So do you just eliminate one of those races altogether from the standings then and take the best 3?
Whatever your lowest point score was. So for instance, if you had a mechanical or you life interfered with you racing at the same time every week, that sort of thing, then we just throw away your lowest point total for any given week.
So the 2 halves then are going to score up. So the best score that somebody could get then would be 6,000 points, if I'm not incorrect there. That'd be the best score.
That is correct, but this is about esports, so you should like this, Nathan. If you stream, and we're promoting streaming as well as you are, if you stream, you get an extra 5 points.
Ooh.
Which can be significant, and you can get up to 30 extra points. I think is if I'm correct. I have to check with the officials as well, but that's my understanding at the moment. So if you stream as well while you're racing, you have to be racing as well. Then you score an extra 5 points, and that should make it interesting at the end. So it's definitely already getting more and more people to stream as well, and that's streaming to the CycleView platform. Just to sort of give you an example of what's happening there. And some people ask, hey, why is that the deal? This isn't just about, that's not racing. The purists, the racing purists might be a little off put by that. But what I would remind everybody is this is about esports. This is about streaming. This is about watching. This is about generating excitement. And in the future, it's also about building the prize pools as well.
Mm-hmm. Right on. We do have one question coming through, actually, which is, I think, more of a fun question from Z Kreider saying, if we get to LA, can we race on the track? She loves the track racing, so we'll see if there's any riding on the track. Were you riding on the track in France? Were you guys warming up on the track?
We were not warming up. There was actually some world champions and national champions using the track while we were there, track types. And that was fun. We had a lot of people taking pictures with them and having a lot of fun. I'm not sure what the rules are at the Velo Center. In Paris, you had to go through like an hour training. You had to prove that you knew how to ride on a track, that sort of thing. So that certainly diminished the number of people that you saw riding in terms of CVR folks. I only ride on a trainer anymore. I don't even think I can keep my balance on a bike any longer. I count on the trainer for that. So I certainly was not on the track, but I used to love the track as a sprinter. So that was a lot of fun, but I was a little busy in Paris as well.
I bet you were crazy busy in Paris, actually. Now, just so everybody knows, we are doing our best. My distraction a little bit from the conversation with Frank is at the same time clicking through, trying to find the finish for the women's race. As soon as they cross the start-finish line, I am put out into the mass of everyone that is at the start finish line, and I have to work my way back and get back into the race here. But I actually want to commentate this just real quick here, because there's a battle going on here between Carissa Min and I Mason here, and she is throwing down 3.9 watts per kilogram, 173 watts, and it looks like 193 beats per minute. I know she's got a little kick left in those legs right now, because I know she beats a little bit higher than that at this point, but it's going to be maybe saving up for a sprint here. It is only then she just grabs on at the end here, just barely to that wheel, as you can see here, and hanging on. Now, is she going to go right on by is the question, or is she going to stick with the wheel here? No, the worst time for us to lose. We have a track stand. Now, this is a question. This is perfect timing, though, for you, Frank. Hopefully we get them back. But I also, knowing what's happening with FanView here, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Maybe we'll get them back here. I think we are going to get them back. There's something moving here. Not sure exactly what is. There's Carissa. I think she just barely was able to get the better. Well, no, she's going to decide to do a track stand. It's Sagan style at the finish line. And that's what's going to be happening. So, Frank, is that concerning? Like, what are you thinking about that right now? And maybe there's NDA or who knows what's going on in the background in communications with Zwift, and Zwift has assurances that are coming through. But we just saw Carissa track stand at the finish for the stream. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, first, let me say that obviously I love Zwift. That's why I'm doing a lot of this stuff. That being said, there might be a little room for improvement, Nathan. I think you've mentioned this previously, so I'm gonna wrap my arms around you here before I jump off the
No, that's
here.
fine. That's fine.
But I think that it would be nice if that was a little more stable in terms of the esports aspect of that. Now we've done some things on our side that look to be alleviating that a little bit, but we think FanView will become very important as time goes on, and I certainly appreciate there are a number of things for Zwift to work on, but hopefully if we keep talking about it, it'll move up in the priority order a little bit, because like that was a great finish at the end of a race. You absolutely want to see that. I certainly wanted to see it just now. And it's a little bit frustrating when you can't see that. A couple of athletes putting out a tremendous effort. It's what CVR World Cup's all about. We certainly want to see that at the end. So, I'm sure Zwift's working on it, and they'll get there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that completely. But it definitely is. I was just wondering what you were thinking about. I think in a live event situation too, you see something different than what we're seeing from FanView. You have all of those feeds right there in front of you, right? So you're able to see everything that's happening there right in front of you. With their own eCrit coming up, I think there's also obviously like, okay, this needs to be handled for sure as well. So I think, but it has gotten better though. I'll say that. As before, we would just be jumped around. Now we get a track stand, which is kind of cool to see a shadow doing a track stand. So at least it's staying with the rider now, and so they're obviously working on it. And I've gotten plenty of assurances that it's on a definitely roadmap as well. So looking at the results here real quick, though, just want to call out then. For the women's results, they're not up quite yet, actually, though. So we'll have to wait on those just a moment here from ZwiftPower.com. Now, you guys do work with Zwift Power, correct, Frank, to get a lot of your results?
So all the results come through Zwift Power. And so a lot of the, so Zwift Power's undertaken some initiatives recently with regards to fairness in racing. And so all of those rules apply when you race in CVR as well. Obviously, the watts per kilogram ones don't apply, but the watching people's weights and watching people's power and Z power and those sorts of things, the general overall rules apply. We just use a different categorization system, which obviously we call brackets, to try and avoid the confusion. But yes, all that comes through Zwift Power.
Gotcha. Right on. Right on. So last question I'm going to throw at you, because I think this is an important one to you. Z Kreider is asking how to stream. Now, I'm going to say something real quickly here. We are 100% at Zwift Community Live supportive of all streaming of Zwift. And so if you need help with that, we do have a group specifically designed for support. And Jonathan Noblet, who is the live streaming manager over at Zwift as well, is there to help. I'm there to help. And I think Frank also has some more stuff on that as well with CycleView. That is a new level of engagement that they have multiple views of a race or of an event over at their CycleView website as well, where you can stream. So I think Frank probably has some things to say about that too.
Yes. And obviously that adds to the scoring, points that you can score as well. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You can hit cycleview.cvrworldcup.com to get some information there. You can also ping myself or Kim Little, or post in the CVR World Cup page as well, and we'll respond and help you get that. Now, CycleView, we have some stuff coming. There's an app that you can download that'll allow you to watch while you race. So sort of always on top windows on top of Zwift. So, a small window off to the side so we can watch Nathan commentate about us while we're riding. And that will also give you the ability shortly to just hit a button and stream your stuff. So we'll sort of do the whole setup for you. So you download that app, you punch a button, and you're immediately streaming, rather than downloading OBS or whatever version you want to use, and then figuring out how to connect and all of that. So we'll try and make that more convenient and easier. But for now, a little bit more complex. If you ping us, Nathan, I'm in the group that you set up as well on streaming. So I think there's a lot of resources for people, a lot of good information. I actually follow it as well. And so I think that's good stuff.
Awesome. Yep. So there you go, Z. We'd love to see you out there in the streaming community. We absolutely love that. Frank, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I really appreciate you coming on the broadcast today. It was a great race today. I look forward to next week's Zone E, and we're all following along for the CVR World Cup League, and excited to see how the standings do play out. But we're going to get back in with the women's results here and let you have the rest of your day. Thanks for taking some time out, though, to join us here, though, for the broadcast.
Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it.
No problem. See you, Frank. That was Frank Garcia, CEO of Cyclogent from CVR. Quentin, good to have him here with us, and lots of good information there today that really helped us get, I think, a handle on some of the questions that were coming through.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of questions being asked around in the community, and it's good to have people like Frank to come here on the stream and talk about it directly, because, well, people want answers directly from where the answers lie. So, I mean, it's good to have people in there from time to time and giving us some insights. And at the same time, not giving us all the details, because well, there's still well, we can see pretty much everything now up to the Los Angeles event. But I mean, the next question is going to be, where is the next one already? I mean, people might be already thinking about spring season and summer season, and the exciting part about CVR World Cup is where is going to be the next one. I mean, after Vegas, the London reveal was a big thing, and then the Paris one was kind of a big thing as well. So every reveal of CVR location is pretty exciting, and I'm pretty sure everyone is going to be waiting not so patiently for the next reveal of the location for the spring event.
Yeah, that was interesting, the mention of the spring event here. So no slowing down over at CVR, that's for sure. So we'll be interested to see where that ends up and how that all ends up playing out there for sure. I did link the live streaming group for Zwift Community Live streamers. There's also another streaming group called, I believe it is Zwift Streamers as well. So both of those are great resources. The Zwift Community Live Streamers is going to be direct support from Zwift Community Live space. That's what that space is all about. I'll also link it over in the Twitch chat as well for those of you who might want to join the group. Now, please answer the question. If you are going to join the live streamers group, the point is not to share everybody's live streams in there. That's what the groups are for, where we're getting all the views out there and the viewership to see the live streams, right? Your Twitch channel, the Facebook groups, all those different places that you might be sharing your live stream. It's a support space where where you find support about live streaming, and we talk about live streaming, and we talk about how to do live streaming. If you do not have a channel and you don't plan on live streaming, there's no reason to be in the group, really. So just so you know, there's a question up front that says, where's your channel? Where are you live streaming? That's the point of that group. And so if you do not get if you do not get accepted for the invitation, it might be because you didn't answer the question about where your live streaming space or place might be in the Facebook group there. So, all right. So looking for the results still here for the women's bracket. They did come through. They came through, Quentin.
They did come through. Yeah, we got so for the A category, the A bracket. Sorry, if Frank was still here, I would get an ear for still. But for the A bracket, so Kristin Falk from Vision Cycling taking the win before Lynn Bowman from Team Fearless and Carrie Conabeer from Vixen. Anna Otier Brab from Spain and PTZ taking fourth, and England Rod fifth. Lindy Gray taking sixth place, and in the B category we got Anja Fedorovic from Team Poland taking the win. Siv Engmo coming second from Team PTZ, and Kirsty Ohl from Team Vision in third place. And in the C bracket, Joe Genley from Vixen taking the win before Cheryl Muldoon from Vixen as well, so a double here. And Agata Kurkiewicz from not Team Poland, but from Poland, taking third place in that C bracket.
Yeah, solid results all around. Lots of women showing up for the E bracket today. Great to see all of them out there today. Now here, do they usually start separated with like? Is it that was different today? I felt like.
No, I mean the separation happened in Box Hill. They started all together.
So the A, Bs, and Cs though, I thought they started separately.
I mean, that's where I'm seeing the A, B, C, and D categories starting separately here on Zwift Power, but
I'll have to wait and see. Let's get clarification. Yeah. I thought at the start of the race, I saw big time gaps right from the get-go. Really? And so that's why I was wondering if perhaps they started separately.
That could be an explanation too. Yeah, Actually, they did, because if we look at the times, we see Lynn Beaumont with 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 55 seconds, and she definitely came before Anja Fedorovic, who won the B race. But Anja did 50 seconds less on the overall time, so she might have started 2 minutes later, actually.
Gotcha. So I think there might have been a little difference there. Now, next up on Zwift Community Live, that'll be it for results today. Solid results all around. Vision with a good day out on the bike there, it looked like, with the men's result there with Matthew Jean as well as Johannes Herman. And then it was third place to Jonathan Levy in the A category. Levi in the A category. When you say things too many times, man. And then Kristin Falk, Lynn Beaumont, and Carrie Conabeer. Those are your top tiers in the A brackets. Great job to all of them all around. Now, tomorrow, next up on Zwift Community Live, we've got double headers on the workout. Wednesday, we'll be having Matt Rowe and then Coach Hendy. Both of them tomorrow. So group workout Wednesday. Make sure to join us for some suffering together. Full gas and victory. We're seeing the lead out sprints we were doing a couple months ago with Coach Hendy. Now the Coach Hendy material tomorrow will again be pre-recorded, as he is at World Cup race actually for the track team, as he is performance manager for USA Cycling actually on the track and the road, so he is overseas. So we did do a pre-record, and I believe we're doing some force workouts tomorrow with him actually for the North America. Matt Rowe from Rowe and King, I'm not sure what they're up to earlier in the day, but they will be doing the European workout Wednesday tomorrow. There's also a new SCR series, it looks like, has launched. I just got an invitation to it actually, and I'm gonna have to have a chat here. Yeah, I'm seeing a series here. Got an invitation. I'm just gonna have to look into it here. We may have an SCR race tomorrow. I'm just going to double check this real quickly here, as I do have.
Is that Kim Little already inviting you?
January 10th. I'm seeing tomorrow. That's tomorrow, January 10th, noon. It's on my calendar. We'll have to see what's happening tomorrow. So somebody else might have done some communication on my behalf, and I may be running an SCR going tomorrow. We'll have to see. Maybe that's a mistake. We'll have to see if that's true or not. I'll double check with Martin, as he's the man when it comes to SCR.
I thought the previous winner of the series had to do all the invite for the next one.
No, 50 scones. It was 50 scones all at once.
Oh, 50
That's it. 50 scones.
Well, that's good too. I mean,
to slow you down. Just to slow you down.
Oh, okay. That works for me as well.
I'm seeing the winter race series here tomorrow. It is a race on ZwiftPower.com. I am seeing January 10th. So it looks like the autumn race series is over and the winter race series is starting. So we'll see if we are covering it. I have to have a chat and see if there's anything that would interrupt or not. But I have a feeling, since I've been invited, it may be happening. So that might be first up tomorrow, boys and girls. So obviously Workout Wednesday, SCR on the docket. And then Thursday, E-Crit, Quentin. Then we also have Friday community chat. So we still not exact on the guests. We have a few guests for maybe on community chat, but if you are interested in coming on community chat, we've done 2 episodes. First episode, we had Mr. The Lion, G. Leo. Greg Leo came in. We had a good conversation about game theory. That was pretty cool. Quentin?
Yeah, I saw it, and sadly I won't be able to join you on Friday because it will be at the French National Cyclocross Championships, covering it live.
Oh, is this National Championship cyclocross weekend? So all the national champions should be taking place this weekend.
All the nationals this weekend. So I will be covering it. So I won't. Most likely I won't be able to join you that Friday. But
we'll bring you in live. I guess from the. You have a cell phone. You got a smartphone.
I do. If you want to bring me live from. Of course, we can try that. I mean, why not? Maybe grab 1 or 2 racer. I heard one of the division rider we have there isn't there on Friday, so that would have been cool to have some Zwifters there at the French Nationals. I guess we'll find something.
Yeah, we'll find something. We'll bring you in through a call, a VMix call, hopefully through the phone at some point. And check out French Nationals, since you're going to be there. That'd be pretty cool. And so, not like it's Belgian Nationals. Listen to Leo. Oh, shots fired.
Shade.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, what about the U.S. Nationals? Let's talk about that for a bit.
I'm not talking about that. We just had a World Cup, okay? You better back off. Our one World Cup we've had. Oh, my gosh. So just so you know, we had Greg Leo, then we had Eric Schlange from Zwift Insider on. It was a great conversation about all things Zwift Insider. Still up for grabs on what our Friday Zwift community chat will be. If you would like to be on Zwift community chat, it's all about highlighting the awesomeness out there. You got a team, you got a project, you got an event, you've got some in real life amazing results. We'd love to hear it from pro all the way down, not down, but all the way across the spectrum to riders of all abilities that are doing awesomeness through Zwift in any respect whatsoever. You are welcome on to the Zwift community chat. All right, we're out of here. That's it from Quentin and I. Get some sleep, Quentin.
Time for racing now.
Oh, you're going to go race? You're going to go race? Quentin?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still an hour before the next CVR race, so that's why I signed up for the F zone. That's because I can race after broadcast.
Okay, so Quentin in the F zone. All right, go get it, Quentin. Thanks a lot for jumping in with us, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. That's Quentin Lefebvre coming out of France, getting ready for his race. Wish him some luck in his CVR. And that's going to be it for me. I'm Nathan, coming at you from Zwift Community Live. We'll be back tomorrow with, it looks like 3 to 4 programs actually on the day. So make sure to hit that follow button over at Twitch. That's the main place to get push notifications anytime that we go live to your email, your Twitch app, on your desktop or your mobile. That is the live streaming platform. If you follow us on Facebook or like our Facebook page, that's awesome. Great. But at the same time, you usually won't get that in your feed directly. And won't get notifications to your email or to apps on your phone, etc. Without a couple of extra things you would have to do. So if you like all the ZCL content, we're trying to grow that Twitch channel. Head on over there and hit the follow button over there. You can also find all of our VODs over on our YouTube channel as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And as always, great job to all the racers and riders out there, and ride on.